What's up, guys? It is me, Sai, your anime protagonist VTuber, and your host for the Deep Penetrating Thoughts podcast, a podcast that I have started here on YouTube because I have nothing better else to do in my life. So we're gonna talk about shit that comes into my head, or this is the Deep Penetrating Thoughts podcast where we go balls deep inside thoughts and then come to some realization where we either cry in the corner due to existential dread or cry in the satisfaction with the conclusions we make, or somewhere in between, confused, wondering what the hell just happened. And we are finally in episode 3 of this podcast right now, and this is gonna be the first podcast where we're gonna talk about thoughts and not just me, not just my background story. We're still gonna talk about some of my background story, because specifically in this basic in this very episode, because we're just gonna talk about not just Mr. Beast. I know this is a clickbait title, but Mr. Beast is just gonna be the example, one of the examples we're gonna do, we're gonna use for the thought experiment that we're going to do tonight, because Mr. Beast is a very powerful individual. He is the most influential YouTuber as of now. He's Mr. YouTube right now. He took over PewDiePie. He's now the largest YouTuber in the world, and I don't know. There are channels bigger than him, but he's for an individual person or personality. Mr. Beast is a very influential one, and we're gonna talk about him because he is a very complex figure. He's not as simple as what most fans think he is. And I thought about this episode during the time when he released the although I'm recording this sometime in May. So I'm recording this at May 7th, for in preparation for May 13th upload. A lot of things have happened, but I actually began to write scripts and outlines on this specific topic when he actually helped 1,000 people see again. And I only decided to make it now and upload it as the third episode because I don't want to be involved in the emotional debate that's happening on behalf of Mr. Beast. And he actually got a second controversy about his friend who became a transgender, and so he's pissing off both conservatives and liberals. No, not liberals, communists, socialists, both right and left people. And that's I don't want to go into an emotional, illogical shit show because both sides are fucking emotional. They won't listen to reason. So I waited for the issue to die down a bit before I release this very episode, so that at least people will have clearer heads, hopefully, and listen to the thought experiment I'm about to present. So yeah, the question here is Mr. Beast evil? But I prepared a script for this, but we're still going guerrilla. I'm not gonna follow the script because I tried recording it earlier and listened to myself. I sound like a robot when I follow the script. So we're going off script. This is gonna be a conversation. This is gonna be a conversation style. I'm just gonna be, I failed. I made a good script. It looked good as an essay. It looks good as an essay, but as a podcast, as something you have to talk to people with, it sucks. So we're going commando here. I'm going to use the script as just an outline, and I'm gonna tell things. But we're gonna start first. Why am I qualified to talk about this shit? Why would you care? Or why would my opinion matter? I'm just some random VTuber at the internet, right? I'm a weeb. No, a weeb loser or something. Like most people will assume that it's easy to actually judge someone, especially if you don't know me. And I don't have any I don't have any intention of doxing myself, to be honest. I'm doing this as a side hustle, or not side hustle. I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm just doing this as a hobby because it's a different experience from what I am actually experiencing in real life. This is my this is more deep, a deeper outlook on my life. Like nobody in in my other friend circles, except for the original friend circle, would expect me to make something like this. Okay, majority of people know me as something else or someone else, and they don't know this side of me that much. So I'm actually just not gonna dox myself and let them not be surprised. And also the other thing is I might do something fucked up in the future, and it will affect my organization, it might affect my friends and my colleagues. So to be safe, I'm not really doxing myself, especially since I'm some sort of a pillar in the community. But just so that I could feel something else other than being someone of a center of attention, and try to feel like a loser for once, I am doing this. But yo, let's give you guys a glimpse of what my background is. My profession is actually social worker. Although I am juggling multiple jobs at the same time, one of the professions that I make. Okay, let me iterate that. I do at least three types of jobs. I am a private tutor. I tutor high school students, college students, uh, being paid by pretty affluent clients in order for me to teach them basic and difficult subjects. That's one of my profession, but I do it only a few times in a month, especially just in the weekends. My second profession is I'm a virtual assistant, so it's my side gig. It's another side gig. I'm a virtual assistant. I help like American and European customers like upload stuff on Shopify, manage their social media accounts, everything else that can be done on a laptop or computer. That's my second profession. It's actually the highest paying job I have, but I only do it like once or twice a week for a few hours, a couple of hours, because my main profession, the one that doesn't pay well actually, is a social worker. I am basically a general social worker. It's not just a specialized social worker, because I'm gonna say I work in a non-profit organization, one of the largest in my local area, and they are short of manpower, to be honest, because social worker compensation is not that big. Okay, I earn, if you convert, so at the current conversion rate, I earn around $6 a day. So with my full-time job, you work 5 or $6 a day. So that's my main profession. This main profession that I do, that I actually do 5 days a week. So 5 days a week, $6 a day, social worker. What kind of social worker am I? I just some volunteer that's giving food people. That's part of the job, but I am what you call an all-around social worker, because as you know, the NGO is really in dire straits because its only source of funding is donations. Okay, they only get funding from donations, and they are even though they're large, donations are not that common. It's some people say that some charities are being donated. Sometimes people donate to a charity and don't know that it's not enough, to be honest. Like there and it doesn't help that there are a lot of false charities also out there draining money and just getting used as tax havens for billionaires. But it also affects the reputation of other non-government organizations like ours. And we are honestly short in manpower. And so even though I am supposed to be doing one job, I am doing multiple jobs. So basically, as a social worker, I basically take care of orphans, first of all. Second, I also provide seminars and youth development councils and seminars and workshops for teenagers. Third, I also perform outreach programs to criminals for rehabilitation of criminals, and giving them jobs, and not giving them jobs, teaching them skills, so that if ever they were to integrate back to society, they can become a civil person. Another thing that I do is, I'm also almost all around, because sometimes I'm also assigned to actually find donors, talk to donors, talk to start fundraisings and stuff like that. Specifically like talking to donors, because I have political and what you call this, a lot of network of very powerful, influential, and rich people, because of my parents. Because of my parents, and because of my grandparents, and because of every single adult that I have talked to in my life. I also talk to other NGO organizations when we're going to have like what you call this, joint projects in helping the community. We are also involved in mediating between religious conflicts and stuff like that. I also help in that regards. And yeah, we I do most all the time. But as in the nature of social work, I have seen everything. Okay, I have seen the best people in the world, the most selfless volunteers you can see, and I have seen the most slimiest donors ever, that is just doing good for their own personal gains. And I think I'm a good judge of character when it comes to that, because sometimes you can meet a easy politician, you can overzealous volunteer. Foreigners are really like that. We have like foreigner volunteers come here time to time. They're very zealous, but some of them are just doing it for the Instagram post as well. But I have seen everything. Okay, I have seen and met every type of people out there, I believe too. Okay, the only people I haven't met up yet, maybe in my line of work, are you know yeah, I almost have met everyone. I have met overzealous LGBT activists. I have met with conservative, bigots. I have I have met with slimy politicians. Met with greedy business, and I have met with psycho criminals, stuff like that. So, I guess with my vast array of experience and background in philosophy, ethics, and stuff like that, because I went through a seminary, I studied philosophy, psychology, and community building, and then interreligious dialogue. So those are the main subject matters that I studied before I dropped out, and I was supposed to be one of the best until I have my own personal issues. If you want to know, you can actually listen to the first two episodes. I talk about it in detail, but I think I'm quite qualified when I'm judging if someone's evil or not. But then again, you cannot judge. I just want to say, you cannot really judge if a person or an action is evil or not, because it's a very, very complex topic, especially in this day and age where everyone is just doing it for show. And in the age of internet and social media, you don't know whether someone is good or not, but a lot of people are into charity porn. And there are people in both sides of the political spectrum and both sides of the religious spectrum, that actually are questioning what is it to be good or what is it to be bad. So yeah, I just want to say, I have been watching the Mr. Beast issue for a while now, and I have seen both sides, and I can see what each side has to offer. And my problem here is, to be honest, both of them are wrong. Both sides are wrong. I just want to say, both sides are fucking wrong when it comes to defending Mr. Beast and condemning Mr. Beast. So let's start with the antis, the people who are, trying to say bad to Mr. Beast. Let's see where they're coming from. Why are they, actually trying to take down this man that's just helping 1,000 people get their eyesight? And uh, some people are just dismissing them as people who are envious. Well, a large chunk of them could be envious of Mr. Beast, but I just want to say, not all of them are, and there are some of them that are defending a specific type of morality particularly some type of derived from Christianity in itself, but sometimes it's secular too. It's basically that you should not tell everyone that you're doing something good, and that very notion of doing your charity in secret is very, it's actually a Christian moral, that you should never show people that you are helping others, and that's a sign of arrogance for some reason. But the problem here is most of them misinterpret that. It's just that there are times that you can show people just to inspire other people to help others too as well, and that's what they lack. And it's not mostly because Jimmy is bad, Mr. Beast is bad. It's actually a self projection, because they are, I want to say the bad news here, because most people who's criticizing Mr. Beast don't know who he is. They don't really know who he is, what he's doing. They're not really friends with him. They have never grown up with him. And according to psychology and psychological studies, if you are judging someone who you have never known before, or if a person is judging someone that they have never known their entire life, they most likely do it by projecting themselves into that person's shoes, and then thinking, what would they do if they were doing that in that position? So most people who saying Mr. Beast doing something selfish, something evil, exploiting the poor, exploiting the one for views and stuff like that, they are actually projecting that if they were in Mr. Beast's position and power, the only reason they would be helping those people is because they're exploiting them. So it's more of, assumption of not because of Mr. Beast's character, but more of the person who's trying to talk to them. So it goes both ways as well. Those people who is trying to defend Mr. Beast is projecting that if they were in Mr. Beast's position, they would do the right thing. And yeah, but sometimes some people are twisted. So I'm very sorry for those who are anti Mr. Beast, but you need to look in the mirror and think of yourself. Would you exploit people? And it would be very naive. So there goes. Bye bye. I'm sorry if you're gonna hate me for that, but the truth hurts sometimes. We have monsters inside of us, and you are only judged as good if you can control it. But that's my cup of tea. Sorry about that. And yeah, I could understand that. But the problem here is we don't really know if Mr. Beast is genuine or not. We are not in the position to know. But according to his track record, based on what I can see, he seems like a chill dude. Kinda naive too. He's kinda naive, but he has a good heart. I believe he has a good heart. I think he has a good heart. But he's kinda naive sometimes, because that time he said that he could be the president of the United States. The dude doesn't know what politics is. I want to stay. Okay, if I were to ask if Mr. Beast could be the president of the United States, he could win actually. After the older generation dies and a lot of the younger generation are into Mr. Beast, my boy has the capability to become the president. But once he becomes the president, he will be corrupted. Because, so much power concentrated on him becoming the leader of the free world. You have to do a lot of questionable things. It's part of the job of a politician. There is no good politician. Even if you took a saint and make him a leader, time in power will corrupt that person. Because when you're a politician, you're actually have no choice, because for the good of a greater population, sometimes you have to sacrifice a minority. That's part of a politician's job, and it sucks, and it will already corrupt you. No matter how good your intentions are, there will go to be bad results, which comes to our thought experiment. So this is what I believe in. Yeah, and let me okay, before I start what I believe in, let's start with the way of thinking first. I am from Asia. I am a Filipino, and majority of the people that criticize and defend Mr. Beast are from the West. you guys have what we call an analytic type of thinking. You have there's two types of thinking actually when it comes to analyzing stuff or categorizing stuff in the world. There you have the holistic way of thinking and the analytic way of thinking. Majority of people in the West, not just in the West, but majority of people in the developed world, and have been influenced by Western culture, has a analytic way of thinking, which is good when you're doing it for production, for job seeking, for business, or anything that can be used in a materialistic world. If you are talking about stuff that could make you money, that could make you survive in a corporate environment, that would help you go into politics, or achieve goals that would give you power, influence, fame, money, fortune, an analytic type of thinking is preferable. You are gonna be good at it. But an analytic way of thinking is the worst type of thinking when you're thinking about morality and ethics. Because when you're talking about morality and ethics, it's not just one action from another action. You need to think about the circumstances, the relationships, and the intentions and everything like that, and how it all connects to each other before you can judge one thing is good or not. The problem with an analytical thinker, they think in categories, they think in logic, and they think in not just logic, they just think in black and white and in categories. And a holistic thinker think of relationship and circumstances. And if you're gonna judge a morality of a person, if they are good or bad, you have to think in a holistic way, not in an analytical way. That's why I'm saying both sides are wrong. Both sides are wrong. Because one side will say Mr. Beast doesn't have good intentions, and then he's just exploiting the people for views, even though the results are good. The intentions are bad, therefore it's bad. Correct. If that was true, correct. But the problem here is, how do you know that Mr. Beast has bad intentions? The other side will say it doesn't matter if his intentions are good or bad. Some will say that, they still helped in the end. You still help 1,000 people see. That is also wrong. That is wrong. Why? Because it's not just the result that you think about whether an action is good or not. To be honest, it's always the relationship between intention, action, and results before you actually judge whether an action is good or not. There's a saying that good intentions, the road to hell. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And actually, that's really true, because good intentions is not enough for an action to be good. Good intentions and good results. If you have good intentions and good results, the action is good. That's it. If one of those things is bad, it's bad. No matter how good the result is, if the intention is bad, it's still bad. Okay? The devil will do a good deed in order for him to gain something, so he can perform greater evil in the future. And sometimes, if the result is bad, even if the intention is good, you still have to pay for the consequences of your actions. So, good intentions, bad result is bad. Bad intentions, good result is still bad. Okay? So for those people who's defending it, saying that, Mr. Beast will inspire people, or just doing, helping others with bad intentions instead of exposure, but at least 1,000 more people will get to see. There are people in this world that are willing to starve. There are people in this world that are willing to starve rather than get handouts from a devil. And that is what is the problem with the West right now. Majority in the West right now are pragmatic people with no longer they no longer have the ideals. They no longer have the ideals. Most of them are just pragmatic. They just focus on the result. They just focus on the result without no for them dignity has no value anymore. And it's kind of sad, especially in this is a common theme I've seen in the West. I've seen in Western people. Like most of them have become too materialistic, too pragmatic, that they no longer value specific things that are abstract, that makes people human. Okay? So that's my main issue in the debate. That's why I'm saying both sides are wrong, because one side is judging Jimmy without even knowing who he is, and the other side is defending Jimmy in the wrong way because they became too pragmatic. And yeah, in the end, we are actually not gonna know whether Jimmy is good or bad, because who knows? Based on his track record, he's a good person. To be honest, if I were to see him, he's a good person. If he's gonna donate stuff to us, why not? We're gonna accept it. We need the funds, but no. To be honest, we don't know what his intentions are. But if I were to be followed, I don't want people to be silenced just because they have the wrong opinion. Because good things and bad things aside, so we have this what we call the canary in the mine, or canary in the coal mine saying. Like, I learned this from my father too as well. You should never silence an opposition even if they're wrong, because it actually is a better alternative than silencing something. Because once someone had the power to silence someone, you have a tyrant in your hands. So in a society like this, also that's one of my critic with the people who's fighting around. A lot of people are trying to shut up the other side instead of just presenting counter arguments. And that's a really big problem in the West, especially in the West. And I feel sorry for it because, the West is where democracy started, and yet they're killing it. They're starting to breed little tyrants. Not big tyrants, but the little tyrants. We call them little tyrants, the ones that are, tyrannical, but no absolute power. But, the West is littered with those people. Instead of like having a healthy conversation, they would just silence the opposition, both left and right. There's gonna be a comments. There might be some people in the comment section who gonna say that, oh yes, it's the left, or oh yes, it's the right. No, it's both sides. Both sides have tyrants, and it's kind of sad that the sensible center people are silent. I don't see them too much in social media. Maybe because they're having productive lives outside of it. But yeah, I'm not even aware of what's happening until I started, until I was not really aware of world politics until, not world politics, but the culture war in the West until the pandemic came, because I was stuck at home, so I have nothing to do but to read shit. Because I was too busy with everything I'm doing in my life that I never realized that, there are a lot of crazy people out there. not realizing there are a lot of crazy people out there, and people have gotten to the point that they're having extreme views for some reason. Nobody's moderate anymore for some reason. But yeah, that's basically what I have to say with the Mr. Beast issue. But let's talk more about what we call the canary in the mine. So we're gonna talk about whether something is good or bad, and why silencing others is bad, even if they're wrong. Because if someone is wrong, and you silence them, you will never know if someone's ideals, or if you have to stay away from that person if they don't speak what they have in mind. Because people with wrong opinions are the easiest way to avoid them is to actually know what they're thinking about. So if you silence people, and if people are too afraid to talk their minds out, you don't know which person is gonna be a toxic person. That's basically what I say. So that's why I don't really want to silence anyone unless it's gonna harm the channel or stuff like that. But yeah, that has been my view. And it's kind of healthy to see that there are people on both sides uh criticizing Mr. Beast and defending Mr. Beast, because we need both of them. To be honest, it is needed in a healthy society, that you have an opposition and you have a defender of one's ideals, because this is it. Let's be honest, we don't know if Jimmy is a really good person. We can only judge by his actions, but we don't know what's happening inside his head. Because, even they say the Antichrist can pretend to be God, an angel of light. So, in the end, we need an opposition, so that if the opposition is right, at least there are people fighting against the evil. And if the opposition is wrong, then it means that that person is doing something good. In the end, we all win. Okay? So, as long as we don't try to harm each other and silence each other, a healthy disagreement would be good. Because if someone wants to silence the other side, that's a tyrant right there, and you need to stay away from that person. And yeah, so basically, again, back to my arguments here. Why am I saying that bad intentions with good result is still bad? It's because, there's this thing called dignity. Like, for example, giving alms to the homeless. Giving money to the homeless, sometimes it's good. It feels good for you. But sometimes it's an insult to the person, because you're gonna look down on them. Yeah, it's not like looking down on them. It's like losing their dignity. To be honest, I do not suggest giving their money directly to poor people, because sometimes some of them are just, let's be honest, some of them are just gonna waste it. Some of them are just gonna waste it. Not all. There are people that could help. But it's better if you actually give alms to a reputable organization that's doing something for the helpless and the poor, because at least the money will be managed properly. Because if you just directly give money to the poor, a lot of people are not really good at money. They're just gonna spend it on booze, they're gonna spend it on gambling. Some of them are gonna use it for food. Majority of them would. But there would be people who's just going to use it for addiction and other stuff and vices. So it's actually best that you just give it to a food shelter, to a reputable NGO. But the problem here is it's hard to find reputable NGOs nowadays, because some of them are just charities that what you call this? Charities are just tax haven for the rich, or what you call this? Money laundering scheme for criminals. But that's where you go. That's where the work comes, okay? Helping people is hard. And a lot of people are just doing the easy way out, because most people are fucking lazy. I can't blame people, but I have friends that are also like that. Because it's hard to research what a reputable organization is. It's hard to research and stuff like that. You just want to feel good about yourself. So if you're just gonna help people just to feel good about yourself, don't do it. I would rather let you just spend the money on yourself than help people if you're just doing it to feel good. Do it if you genuinely want to help someone. Okay, that's my opinion as a social worker, because I have met the worst people in the world, and the worst people in the world are just doing it because they feel good about doing it. It's because, if they do it when they feel good, when the things go tough, because sometimes there are times that's just gonna be it's gonna be hard to help others, because there will be people that don't want to be helped, but they need help. They just don't want to do it. And if you're the type of person who's helping people to feel good, and suddenly you meet a person that just makes you feel bad for helping them, you won't help them, even though the right thing to do is actually helping them. So, because, helping others is not a feel good thing, it's a duty, and not everyone is cut out for it. So, I would rather you just help yourself, help your friends, party with your family, than you trying to donate to an institution because it makes you feel good. That's one more thing. As a, as this is my opinion on it. But to be honest, some of my colleagues will say, sure, donate, because we are really we are really, what you call this, we don't, donations are not really a regular thing, and it's hard to budget. But some of my friends are actually, colleagues are actually pragmatic. But I could understand them, but it's not the spirit of helping others. The spirit of helping others is actually a duty. It's not an obligation that you have to do, and it's not a voluntary thing that makes you feel good. It's a duty. The feel good is just a bonus. The feel good is not is just a bonus. So if you really want to help people, volunteer in your local kitchen. Do something like that. But don't do it because you want to feel good. You do it because it's the right thing to do. And that's very difficult, especially for normal people, especially for volunteers. Some people are just volunteers because they want to feel good. They want to do it on Instagram. And I have seen that. Is that bad? Yes, it's actually bad. But we don't have a choice, because heroes are rare. Heroes in this world are rare. So most charitable organizations have just to, sometimes deal with slimy politicians, because they're gonna donate this amount of money that would actually be able to let the organization run for a couple of months. So we just have to be forced to accept the money in exchange for them taking pictures with the orphans and use it in their campaigns, which is kind of sad. And that's the reality in this world, which is kind of sad, that it takes it's this is what the anti Mr. Beast crowd is thinking about. They're idealists. I kind of understand them, but the problem here is their approach is wrong. Their approach is kind of wrong. They are trying to take down a man that's just doing something good, rather than just reminding the people that when you're helping people, the right thing to do about this here is to remind people that if you are going to help people, you have to do it not because of the views, not because of the fame, not because of the money, but you're doing it because it's the right thing. That's the right way to say it, and not try to take down Mr. Beast. That's the wrong thing. Okay? They are doing it the wrong way. Or maybe the reason why they're doing it the wrong way is because maybe they're envious, a little bit envious inside their head. Or maybe they're just projecting that if they had that power, they would be exposing or exploiting other people. But I can kind of get the philosophy they're going for. That you need to help people not because you're getting views, not because you're gonna get rewarded. You mean, rewarded by the awe and the praise of other people. You do it because it's the right thing. And I actually appreciate that they somehow believe that. But, they're doing it the wrong way. That's my 2 cents about it. But yeah, this is a lesson that I really want to tell everyone. As a social worker, especially as me, I have seen the slimiest of people. I have seen the selfless volunteers. I've seen selfless volunteers too as well. It's not like I've always seen, but I just want to say a lot A lot. Majority of people are bad. Majority of people, they, like, for example, some there are volunteers here who just volunteer for the sake of like getting clout and stuff like that. It's kind of sad that it's pretty rare to see a genuinely good person that's trying to help. It's kind of sad. But uh when you see one, it's, my faith in humanity gets restored. At first, I've met with a lot of sleazeballs, but we don't have the choice but to entertain them because we need funding. It's kind of sad that sometimes we have no choice. But if I had a choice to choose between a person who has good intentions that would donate to a guy who would bad intentions, I'll choose the one with a good intention and make sure that the result is gonna be good. But we don't live in a perfect world. That's why we need to at least judge things based on result, and that's how I can see the other side, which is the people that's trying to defend Jimmy. They're just focusing on the results, which is kind of good in a pragmatic world. In a realistic world, yeah, it's kind of pragmatic, but we have to remind them that dignity matters too. You know, uh, there are a lot of people that are saying, what's dignity for when you have a growling stomach, right? It's the same. If you think like that, then I'm saying you're thinking like a criminal. That's the justification of criminals. What's the point of doing good things if you're gonna starve to death? So might as well just steal someone's money so that I can feed my family. Those are some of the prisoners' mindset that I've met. What they do is bad. It's evil. Okay, but humans have this. Even I'm guilty of this too as well. We justify our evil deeds, trying to force or convince ourselves that we did something good. But in the end, we're fucked up. All of us are. We're all evil people. It's kind of sad. We are just evil people doing our best to do good. And I think that's a noble thing. But yeah. All I have to say is people should do the best they can, not because you are going to be rewarded, but it's because it's the right thing. That's gonna be the lesson for tonight. Okay, we're talking about evil and morality, and it's gonna be complicated. I have a lot of site studies here. Like, there are people that are saying like Peter Singer. Everyone is actually, if we follow Peter Singer, everyone is evil. Because, when you buy Starbucks coffee instead of just making it at home and using the extra money to donate to charity, you're actually participating in evil because you're not trying to help people, because there are people suffering in the world right now. So yeah, if you guys, this is an interesting read. So after this podcast, I suggest you guys to read the works of Peter Singer, and once you understand it, you're gonna be pissed of yourself, and you will think like, I am fucking evil. But this is what, let's go back. To be honest, I don't want to be as religious as it is, but we could go back to the Bible itself. It actually makes sense now, because the Bible really is saying that humans are fucked up. And if you actually analyze it at the very at the very fundamentals, no matter how much you think good of yourself, you are actually evil. You are actually doing something good. And that's basically the harshest truth in this world, that no matter what good things you did, regardless, even if you don't believe in the Bible or not, if you analyze it on a study perspective or a humanistic perspective, that's why I'm saying read Peter Singer about morality and altruism. So you will realize that if you read it, because you are aware, especially in the age of information, in the age of information, before the age of information, there is an excuse. You can excuse yourself from not helping others because of the, there's not much information. You can say that you are ignorant. You didn't know that there are people starving in Africa right now. But now, in the age of information, in the internet, when every suffering in the world is just one click away. So, knowing every suffering in the world is just one click away, and you still try to live in a life of luxury without helping others. Are you sure you're a good person? Because a good person would always help the people that are suffering, right? So yeah, I'm not, we don't have enough time to discuss this, but if you want to learn more, you read Peter Singer's work, and you know what I'm talking about. You guys will know what I'm talking about, that most people in the world are evil. Most people in the world are evil, but that doesn't mean you need to feel bad about yourself. It just means that now you know that you're evil, you should work hard to be good. Because, the easiest thing in this world is to do evil. The hardest thing in this world is to do good. And that's the truth and reality that a lot of people will disagree in. Because, it's hard to accept the fact that you are not good enough. You are not good enough for this world. And that is one of the deepest philosophical things about, being good or not. A lot of people are saying, oh, this person is good, this person has done blah, blah, things like that. Are you sure about that? Because if you don't know what's really going through their head. So it's really hard to judge, whether they're good or not if you don't really know what they're thinking about. The only person you can actually judge is yourself. But sometimes you're biased. Biased even of yourself. You're biased on yourself. You think yourself are good, but you don't know that you are not doing things that are good enough. So in the end, you will always fall short. And that's one of the sad things in life. Oh my God. We are now going so deep. We are going too deep into thoughts, and if you guys can follow me, I hope you're not confused, man. But we're having an existential crisis here. So my question here is, do you believe you're a good person? Really? When was the last time you helped someone in need? When was the last time you actively searched for someone in need in order for you to help? That's the question. Because you could say, when was the last time you... Because I can't find someone to help. And why are you searching hard enough to find someone to help and help them? Because, sometimes people are too comfortable and too late. And that's why, good people are praised. Because doing good things is hard. So, after this episode, I really hope you find a good charity to help with. Or you can volunteer. I really want, people, especially my listeners, to, I want to influence you guys to at least do something good in your life. Even if once or twice, just because it's the right thing to do. I lived majority of my life like that right now. Am I saying that I'm a good person? No, I'm still fucked up in the head, but I'm doing better. And I think that's where it counts. If every single one of us, no matter how fucked up we are in the head, is still trying to do something good, and in the results, with our good intentions, and we do good results, even if it's a small thing, giving water to a homeless person, or helping a child find his parents or something, or teaching a young boy or a young girl to help them in class, stuff like that. Volunteering in your local church, mosque, or temple. Cleaning the garbage of your neighborhood, unclogging stuff. Simple things for everyday people. And at least we could alleviate the pain of the world a bit. And coming back to Mr. Beast, I think the guy really is a good person and he's doing great things. Great things. I really hope he continues, but I really hope he doesn't, what you call this, he doesn't become the president of the United States. You know why? Because, if you guys have heard, listened to my first two episodes, you guys know that I have a very strong political ties because of my parents. My father is a local political advisor, and I have seen good people get corrupted by the system, and some of them actually starts questioning their intent of becoming politicians, because sometimes they have to decide bad things to help, even if you're a good person. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys an example. So let's give you guys an example of what happened. So there is this issue. There's gonna be an issue in our local government. It happened here. Fishermen are starving because they cannot fish. Not just starving, they're having a hard time trying to fish because they cannot fish near the beaches. They cannot fish near the beaches because most beaches are gonna be designated as tourist areas. So these fishermen have been suffering for decades, and finally a politician wanted to help them, and so he did. Politician who asked my father, so I'm going to help these fishermen, and we're gonna limit the tourist areas. We're gonna limit the tourism areas so that they can fish near the beaches, and so that they do not need to get handouts from the government, and also prevent them from going through the South China Sea and play laser tag with the Chinese Coast Guard. And my father said, don't. And this guy, he just wants to help the fishermen. So he didn't listen to my father. And he did it. He basically passed laws so that the fishermen can fish near the beaches. And what did he do? Since they're fishing near the beaches, the ambience of the local area is no longer good. Got less tourists for the next 3 years. This happened sometime in 2016. Okay, 2016, this guy got elected as mayor. So 2016, 2017, and 2019, we got less tourists. A lot of tourist shops and restaurants closed down. A lot of service industry workers lost their jobs. A lot of transport groups lost their jobs because they're having hard time getting, they're used to having a lot of driving a lot of tourists around, and when the tourists dried up because they can no longer enjoy the beaches because they can see these ragtag boat fishermen, they cannot swim that far from the beaches, and sometimes the fisherman leaves their net in the beach. It's not aesthetically good. Sometimes the fishermen are having fights with hotel owners. So a lot of sectors. So when the transport group lost their jobs, you have the service groups lost their jobs, the restaurants lost their jobs, the hotel lost their jobs. You have 5 fucking sectors who lost their jobs just because you helped one sector get out of poverty. So it's a lose-lose situation, because no matter what you choose, a specific group is gonna suffer, and that is part of politics. And that's what normal peoples do not understand, that there's always trade-off. If a politician will side one side, it would ruin the life of the other side. And for Mr. Beast to aspire, I could understand. He would aspire to get the greatest power in this world, which is the leader of the free world. But with that power, you will do a lot of questionable things. Nobody will like the president of the United States. There will be people supporting you, yes, but you have to do things that will make a specific group of people suffer. And I don't want Mr. Beast to actually experience that, because this guy has a good heart, okay? Helping a lot of people. He's good as a YouTuber, as an influencer. Maybe he could support a politician. Do that. But if he himself become a politician, that's why I'm saying Mr. Beast is naive a bit. I know he wants to help people, but he's too naive. He doesn't know what politics is. Politics, you will always have to, if you enter politics, no matter how good your intentions are, no matter how good your plans are, you will have to decide on things that would harm others. And I don't think the image we have with Jimmy should be shattered just because he became the leader of the free world. Okay? There are a lot of people that hate the president of the United States just because of what they did. Like, for example, we have a lot of issues, like in the Middle East. What would you do? Would you support the Jews? If you do that, they're gonna torment the Palestinians, not support the Jews. If you do that, the Arabs are gonna kill the Jews. So what part are you gonna do? Would you help the Jews or not? That's gonna be sad. Because why am I saying that? Because the Arabs did attempt that. They did it in the 6-day war. They lost though, because Israel got help from the West. But that's you cannot solve all the world's problems, and it's kind of sad. That's the world we live in. So the best thing we could just do, in my opinion, is for us to just help our immediate community. A lot of people, which is what Mr. Beast is doing right now. Actually, it's kind of great if he's doing it with his own money, his own pocket. He's expanding from his local area, and now he's helping other people from all around the world using his own philanthropy. And I believe he should just stick with that. He should just stick as a YouTuber, as an influencer, as a philanthropist. Stick there. Do not try to go into politics and power, because politics is power, and power corrupts. And we don't want a person that's just so good right now be corrupted by the system. And so that's it. That's basically my thoughts and essay. Do you guys agree with me? Do you disagree with me? At least tell me why. Please no name calling in the comment section. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna be spread by YouTube, but that's my point. That's my background. That's what I think about the world. And that's what I think about good and evil. Do you have your own opinions and views about good and evil? Leave it down in the comments below. It's nice to see, because I really want to know what other people think sometimes. But as long as you're civil, I'll be civil with you. But I'll be honest, if you start commenting like an asshole and down below, I'm gonna block you. I'm gonna block you, because I just want to have a civil discussion. So yeah, this is gonna be the first controversial episode that I've made. I don't think it's that controversial, but saying that I'm already talking about a very controversial person, I don't know what would happen to comment section after I upload this, but hopefully we all have a good time. Okay, let's just be civil and let's be good in the world. And yeah, I think, like, for example, there's also another issue with Mr. Beast, which is his trans friend, but I think I'm going to upload it on another episode, because I'm actually thinking of uploading an episode about LGBTQ, because I also participate in helping the LGBTQ community. There are and I have like a criticism about the differences between the LGBT community of the West and the LGBTQ community in the Philippines, because I'm saying we have very different philosophy in LGBTQ. I have a critic in the Western style, because I think the Filipino LGBTQ community is far superior. I'm sorry, I'm not being racist, but I think the better way for acceptance of the LGBTQ community is to stop what the West is doing right now and do what we are doing here, because I think that's the right thing to do. And yeah, I hope you guys look out for the next episode because it's gonna be controversial. I don't know. It depends on this episode's perception if you guys like it. Do you want me to talk about controversial topics or not? Especially those who are currently listening to my podcast. I have like one loyal commenter, and then I have 7 people who's active in chat sometimes when when episodes like this go out. So before I end this episode, I just want to ask, what's your opinion of what I said? Do you agree with me? Do you not? Do you have your own views of what's good and evil? And also, I want to ask, do you want me to talk about more controversial topics in the future? Because are you comfortable with that? Because I am comfortable about talking about it, but I know some people are not, especially those. So I'm just gonna ask my frequent listeners, if you're listening to this episode, hit in the comments below if you want for us to talk about more controversial topics, because as a social worker with background in psychology, community building, religious interreligious dialogue and philosophy, I think I have a bit of a qualification talking about stuff like this. So if you guys want to know, want to learn, or just want to share your opinions, why not leave it in the comments below. So yeah, let's wrap this up. My final thoughts here is, we don't know whether Mr. Beast is good or evil. That's basically it. Because in order for something to be good, you need to know good intentions with good results. So far, Mr. Beast is giving good results to the world, which is great. We don't know his intentions. If he has good intentions, then he's a good person. But if he's not, and the critics are right, then no matter what good result he does, it will always be bad. So what I'm saying right now is, it doesn't matter whether Mr. Beast is good or not. What matters is, are you doing something good in your life? Are you helping others? Are you actively trying to help others? And I encourage you to do it, because it is the right thing. Again, this is Sai, your anime protagonist VTuber. This is the end of episode 3 of Deep Penetrating Thoughts Podcast. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. See you guys in the next episode. And if you have any episode suggestions that you want us to talk about, leave it in the comments below, because we're doing this bi-weekly. Next episode is gonna be on May 27th. I still don't have a plan of what episode that's gonna be, but if you guys have any idea, leave it in the comments below. Have a great day, guys. Take care of yourself and be always good, no matter what happens. Okay? Do it because it's the right thing to do.